And the 2016 candidate spending the day trying to convince the people of New Hampshire to make them president.
Our country's going to hell. Going to hell.
Monday night in Iowa was incredible.
New Hampshire has a strange way of resetting races. That's kind of what they do.
It's a simple election. One party believes that the government should make the decision. The other party believes you should make the decision.
We cannot afford to wake up in November to the news that we have a president named Bernie Sanders or a president named Hillary Clinton.
And just a short time ago, Governor Jeb Bush went on the record from Manchester, New Hampshire. Obviously, the feud between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz is taking all the political oxygen today. I don't know if you've seen it, but Donald Trump has accused Ted Cruz of stealing the Iowa election, committing fraud by his campaign, tweeting out that Dr. Ben Carson was suspending his campaign. I know you're going after Donald Trump. You have a new ad out that says, "Turn off Trump." So tell me, where are you on this feud? Are you Team Trump or are you Team Cruz?
I'm on Team Jeb. I'm working hard doing town hall meetings all across the state. People don't really care about that feud. They care about how we're going to fix Social Security and how we're going to destroy ISIS. Donald Trump lost, and it's hard for a guy who always says he wins to lose, but he better get used to it.
All right, let me turn now to New Hampshire. You've been in a lot of presidential campaigns, pretty intimately involved, 1988, 1992, 2000, 2004. How does 2016, and the whole overall step back and be sort of a student of elections, how is this one different?
Well, it's different because our country is adrift, and people are scared and they're angry. It's unprecedented, the degree to which people think that our country's in decline. That's dramatically different than 1980, even though we had big challenges then. So, and it's different because of all the new forms of media as well. People can basically customize how they get information. But what's the same is that people in New Hampshire are discerning voters. They challenge candidates. They want them to walk on the hot coals. And there's nothing different there. A poll came out today that showed me in second place, and I think it's because there are other candidates doing this as well. I do a lot of town hall meetings. I take the time to listen. I show the depth of knowledge that I have, the ideas that I have to lift people up, and show good humor. Ask people questions, all the things that in New Hampshire is expected. And I think you're going to be rewarded when you do that.
Well, the poll that you cite is one that we don't use here at Fox News because of its methodology, but I will say that there's another poll that you're the first in the governors. You're ahead of Governor Kasich and ahead of Governor Christie. And, I mean, you and the other two governors present as sort of a different candidate than, for instance, the senators or a businessman or even a doctor. So, you know, this may be, I have no idea. I mean, I know that you've been, you called the ones who won in Iowa, you know, what have they done? They're talkers. You compared them to President Obama.
Gifted speakers, for sure, very gifted, talented politicians, but what in their record would suggest they could make a tough decision? I think that's an appropriate question to ask. I've had 32 years in the private sector, 8 years as a reform-minded conservative governor that really transformed the state. These are gifted senators, but they haven't passed bills of consequence that became law, and nothing in their background would suggest that they could make a tough decision, run to the problem, solve the problem. In fact, what we see is that politicians now pursuing their ambitions basically cut and run when the going gets tough. And right now we need a strong leader to keep in a steady hand to deal with the threats of ISIS and the nation states like China and Russia that are running roughshod over us, and an economy that is anemic beyond belief.
Do you think you and Dr. Ben Carson, maybe even Governor Kasich, have a little bit of a disadvantage in the social media time because you guys are sort of low-key and you don't sort of jump up and down and razzle-dazzle us with tweets?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not going to insult my way to the White House, nor is anybody else. Ultimately, the party nominee better have a hopeful, optimistic message that lifts people's spirits up. It's not my nature to disparage people. It's just not who I am. But I think I do have the leadership skills to be an effective president. And ultimately, that's what people are deciding here in New Hampshire. They're deciding who's going to be the President of the United States, or at least be the party nominee. And when that conversation is focused on, I think I do pretty well.
I understand your mother's joining you on the trail.
Yeah, tomorrow night she's coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. I love my mother, and so does America. So I'm excited that she's going to be with me, and my brother is hopefully going to campaign later on as well.
Which brother? You have more than one.
Well, yeah, Neil and Marvin have already been helpful, and so has George. But George hasn't had a public campaign visit yet, and I hope he does.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. We'll cover that as well. Thank you very much, Governor, and good luck, sir.
Thanks, Greta. Thank you.